Okay, so this lesson is on finding roots or solving an equation for x or the variable. So first let's start off with a relatively simple one where we have it set up just like this. So the first thing we need to know is we need to always get them equal to 0. Now, when we're solving, we must have an equation in it, okay? So otherwise, it's an expression, and we cannot solve expressions. If it does not have an equal sign in it, we can't just add it into it either, okay? Because we don't know what it equals. So, only solve when there's already an equal sign in it. Otherwise, you're just simplifying or factoring or whatever they tell you to do for that specific problem. Okay, so we get it equal to 0, meaning subtract the 15v over. So we get 5v squared minus 15v is equal to 0. Now, when it's two terms like this, there's kind of two options. Either there's a GCF in common, kind of between everything, or it's a difference of squares. Sometimes it's both, but those are generally the options. So we notice though, 5 and 15 have a 5 in common, v squared and v have a v in common. So we're left with, remember it's kind of like division when you're factoring something out. So 5v squared divided by 5v is v, and minus 15v divided by 5v is 3. So then we get it equal to 0. Now here's one thing that we need to know. When it's set up like this is called something that's the zero product rule. So say we have one thing times another thing and it's equal to 0. Well, through multiplication, the only way to get 0 is if one of the things being multiplied was 0, right? That means in this setup that either A is 0 or B is 0. We're going to use that idea right here because we have two things being multiplied equal 0. So 5v equals 0 and v minus 3 equals 0. So then finish solving for v. So divide by 5. So v is equal to 0, and add 3. So v is equal to 3. Okay, so those are our answers. If we wanted to check them, we would just plug them back in, always into the original formula, never into anything down here, because if you did bad algebra somewhere, well then you're plugging it into that place already, so it's making it work. If it works in the very original problem, well then we know that these actually are answers to the problem or question that you're being asked. So if we plug this in, well, 0 squared is 0, times 5 is 0, 15 times 0 is 0, so 0 works. What about 3 then? 3 squared is 9, times 5 is 45, 3 times 15 is 45 as well, so 45 equals 45. So they both work. Takes just 2 seconds to make sure you'll get 100% on a problem rather than an incorrect. Okay, so next equation that we'll look at is u squared minus u minus 12 is equal to 0. So with this setup, we know that we need to factor it, right? We want to get it into this multiplication kind of factored form setup. So that means using AC method, well, 1 and 12 make 12. Factors of 12 are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4, and we've met in the middle, so those are options. It's a negative, that means we're looking for a difference of 1. So the only ones with the difference of 1 of the factors are 3 and 4. That means we need to write negative u as a combination of 3 and 4. So negative u means we start out with negative 4 and add 3u to it. So u squared minus 4u plus 3u, that combination makes negative u, minus 12 is equal to 0. So split it down the middle, look for commonalities in this group. U squared minus 4u has a u in common, leaving us with u minus 4. This group has a 3 in common, so that would leave us with u minus 4. It's the same group. That means we can factor it out. and we're left with u plus 3. So then each piece equals 0, just like the last one. So u minus 4 equals 0. Add 4 over, so u equals 4. So u plus 3 is equal to 0. Subtract the 3, so u equals negative 3. So 4 and negative 3 are our answers. Again, we can check them just by plugging into that first step equation. Okay. So then, next is if it's kind of taking it a step further. So that one, the only way we can make that last one a little bit harder is if the factoring was a little bit more. Okay, so if we want more practice with factoring, you can look for more problems or look at the previous video that I posted about factoring itself. So if we get a problem that is 2x squared plus 9x plus 7 is equal to x plus 1 squared. So first step is always getting it equal to 0. That's the only way we can factor and then use that zero product rule. So that means we don't like having this stuff over here, right? Also, we don't like that it's squared. So let's FOIL that out. We have x plus 1 times x plus 1. FOILing it out gives us first x squared, outer plus 1x or just x, inner plus x, last plus 1. So combining like terms, that's x squared plus 2x plus 1. This side, just drop it down, is 2x squared plus 9x plus 7. Now, it doesn't truly matter which way we go, but it's always a little easier to factor if we have a positive x squared term, right? So we have 2x squareds here, 1x squared here. Let's move everything over here to this side so that we'll have that positive first term. So 2x squared minus x squared, since we're moving it over, it changes sign, leaving us with x squared. 9x minus 2x is plus 7x, and 7 minus 1 is plus 6. So that's our factorization that we need to work with now. So we have 6, so 1 and 6, and 2 and 3, plus, so that means we need a sum of 7. So only one with a sum of 7 is 1 and 6. So that means we have x plus 1x and x squared plus 1x plus 6x plus 6 is equal to 0. So we just split the 7x into 1x and 6x. So then split it down the middle and group it. So this group has x in common to leave us with x plus 1. This group has a 6 in common for x plus 1. Same group. So we have x plus 1 times x plus 6 is equal to 0. So that means that x plus 1 equals 0, or that x equals negative 1, and that x plus 6 equals 0, so x equals negative 6. Again, we can check it. You would need to go all the way back up to this step here, okay? So if we plugged in anywhere else, again, we could just be proving that our incorrect algebra gave us the right answer, okay? So if we made a mistake right here, well then going here forward, it's all going to be correct. And these will work anywhere in here. But if we made a mistake kind of right there, then it wouldn't work before that. So that's why we always need to go back to the original equation. Okay, so really it's not so bad. It's this, just factoring again, most of it. So the only thing you need to remember is it has to have an equal sign. That's the only way we can solve. We have to get it equal to 0 first, then factor it, use the zero product rule, and set both factors, or all of the factors, maybe if there's more, equal to 0, and solve for your variable. And those are your solutions. Also, don't forget to check them at the end. It's an easy way to get 100% on a problem. Okay.